And now I'd like to give the floor to Ms. Katharina von Schnurbein, European Coordinator on Combating Anti-Semitism, who will now deliver a statement. You have the floor.
Madam President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, there could not be a better moment and place to discuss this global threat to democracies and societies. Defending human rights is at the core of the European project, and the fight against anti-Semitism is an intrinsic part of it. Contemporary anti-Semitism comes in many forms, as is well explained in the so-called IRA definition on anti-Semitism. It appears in its traditional racist form with roots in Christian theology, or as part of Islamic extremism. It hides behind anti-Zionism or appears unmasked as conspiracy myths, Holocaust denial, and distortion. Like for any other form of hatred, it is the responsibility of governments, of civil society, and of international organizations like this one to stand up against it. In history, every media revolution fueled not only progress, but was accompanied with downsides, allowing extremists, bigots, and conspiracy believers to better connect and spread their toxic messages. In the 15th century, the letterpress spread accusations of Jews as well poisoning and child murders. In the 20th century, radio and TV were used by fascists and communists to spread anti-Semitic propaganda. Today, the internet, along all the progress it brings, has also become a melting pot of extremism. An unholy alliance of neo-Nazis, Islamists, and far-left extremists join in believing in a Jewish conspiracy controlling governments, the economy, and the media. They call their enemies Rothschild, Soros, Zionists, or simply the Jewish state. In a time when truth is challenged, conspiracy myths and anti-Semitism flourish. It usually takes only hours for claims to circulate that the Jews were behind a catastrophe, be it 9/11 or the recent Notre Dame fire. It took merely 3 days for the headlines "Les Juifs brûlent la France" to appear on social media, and once online, it never quite disappears again. Conspiracy theories mutate into hate speech and contaminate hearts and minds. Europe, on all levels, has taken action. We chose to see, define, and condemn anti-Semitism. In December, all 28 EU member states unanimously adopted a Council declaration on combating anti-Semitism and protecting Jewish communities. As a result, national strategies on anti-Semitism shall be adopted by the end of 2020. Protecting freedom of expression is an essential value gained in democracies, which we have to defend against those that exploit this right by inciting hatred and violence. In contrast to many other parts of the world, Europe has legislation that criminalizes speech inciting hatred and violence, including Holocaust denial and distortion. And what is illegal offline is also illegal online. The law needs to be enforced. So, in 2016, the European Commission pioneered the way and concluded a voluntary code of conduct with all big IT companies such as Facebook, Google+, Microsoft, YouTube, and Twitter, in which they commit to take down flagged illegal hate speech within 24 hours in Europe. 3 years on, the code of conduct is delivering. While less than 1/3 of illegal hate speech was removed when we started, today almost 3/4 of it are removed. Currently, civil society organizations and courageous citizens are usually at the fore of countering hate speech and thus may even become targets themselves. Therefore, we have also urged EU member states to increase their efforts to bring the perpetrators to court. Finally, we know hate speech can lead to hate crime. All recent tragedies in Paris, Pittsburgh, Poway, of which we just heard the powerful and tragic testimony by Rabbi Goldstein, Sri Lanka or Christchurch have in common that the internet and social media played a role in radicalizing the perpetrators. Therefore, the European Commission has proposed legislation recently that will oblige companies to remove terrorist content within 1 hour of order by public authority. Companies will be liable across the EU for non-removal. But anti-Semitism is not just a European problem, and the EU is determined to fight it beyond its borders together with its partners. We welcome the launch of the United Nations Strategy and Plan of Action on Hate Speech last week to address the root causes and drivers of hate speech across the globe, and trust that it will be a game changer in radicalizing the perpetrators. Therefore, the European Commission has proposed legislation recently that will oblige companies to remove terrorist content within 1 hour of order by public authority. Companies will be liable across the EU for non-removal. But anti-Semitism is not just a European problem, and the EU is determined to fight it beyond its borders together with its partners. We welcome the launch of the United Nations Strategy and Plan of Action on Hate Speech last week to address the root causes and drivers of hate speech across the globe, and trust that it will be a game changer.